Section 1 of the Elements of Botany. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by A.Gramour. The Elements of Botany by William Ruschenberger. Lesson 1. Botany. Definition of plants. Structure of plants. Nomenclature of organs. Botany, formed from the Greek word botane, a plant, is that division of natural history which treats of vegetables. The science of botany is divided into three branches, namely, the anatomy of plants, vegetable physiology, and descriptive botany, which last comprises the classification of plants and their especial history. Botany therefore does not consist, as is commonly imagined by the ignorant, in merely getting by heart a great number of names of plants, and of being able to apply their names to the objects to which they belong, but in a knowledge of the plants themselves, of their organization, their growth, their manner of living, their properties, and the relations they bear to each other, as well as the characters by which they are distinguished from each other. Definition of plants. Plants are beings organized for living, but they are not endowed, like animals, with the faculties of sensation and of performing voluntary motion. Like animals, these beings are readily distinguished from inorganic bodies by their mode of structure, by their nutritive function, through the means of which their substance is renewed and augmented, by their origin, and by the limited duration of their existence. They differ from animals not only in being destitute of the functions of relation, but also in many other respects. Almost all vegetables live fixed in the soil. They absorb, from without, nutritive matters, which they assimilate, without previously digesting them, and they have nothing which resembles a stomach. By the act of respiration they possess themselves of the carbonic acid of the air, and exhale oxygen. We have said that vegetables are destitute of the faculty of sensation, and the faculty of performing voluntary motion. This is very evident in an immense majority of instances. But there are some plants which, at first sight, seem to form an exception to this rule. For example, the branches and leaves of all plants are directed to that side from which come the light and air. Certain plants on the approach of night, or the morning dawn, close their leaves or flowers, and there are some that contract themselves in this manner when they are touched by any foreign body. The small shrub called the sensitive plant exhibits this phenomenon in a very remarkable manner, and a plant of certain Carolina marshes, Venus flytrap, Dionea muscipula, performs these motions most singularly. The leaves, which are formed of two lobes, are so irritable that they close on the slightest touch. When an insect alights upon the internal face of one of them, the two lobes immediately approximate each other, and the animal caught upon the thorns with which these lobes are armed dies in this species of natural snare. The rosalis, the white flowers of which often deck the pools in France, are somewhat analogous, for the hairs which fringe their broad round leaves lie down the moment they are irritated by the contact of a foreign body. But these phenomena differ essentially from the voluntary movements of animals. There is no proof that the plants we have just mentioned experience sensations, nor that the motions performed by them are directed by will. Sometimes these movements result from the action of heat or humidity upon certain parts of their tissues, and at other times they can only be compared to the automatic movements which are readily brought about by means of electricity or galvanism in animals that have been recently killed and deprived of the functions of relation. Of the structure of plants in general. Although plants differ very widely from each other in their external forms, they closely resemble each other in the materials of which their organs are composed. If we examine the internal structure of plants by the aid of a microscope, we find they consist entirely of cellular tissue alone, or at most of cellular tissue united to vessels. Plants that are composed entirely of cellular tissue are called cellular plants, and those formed of cellular tissue and vessels are named vascular plants. Of cellular tissue. The cellular or utricular tissue of vegetables consists of a multitude of vesicles, minute cells, filled with a liquid or other
Sample complete. Ready to continue?